Greetings, ill blacklight. Not enough of us serious-minded brothers and sisters are taking these times serious enough. You remember Flint. You can go back into my catalog of videos 3 or 4 years ago where it was a brother named Moses who had a machine that can get fresh water out of the air. And he went to Flint with it and they sabotaged it. And nothing else came from that. You also remember me talking about Detroit being a port city that was visited by Master W.D. Farad Muhammad Allah in person. And so by the city being 80 to 77% black, we don't control it. We need to change that spirit of Detroit to a black spirit since it's 77. And we just need to call it not a spirit, but the soul of Detroit. After all, we got the best soul music on the planet. But check this out. Oh, one more thing I want to say before we get into it. All your money is being sent over to the war in Ukraine, your tax money, all your money is sent over to Israel, other places, except building up the infrastructure. Now they're complaining about more and more cities. Let me let this guy tell it to you.
60 seconds. Just why are so many American cities struggling to deliver safe drinking water? We report on one of them in our NBC News investigation next. For months, we've reported extensively on the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi, but it is far from the only American city where aging infrastructure is raising safety concerns. Yamisha Sindor takes us to Baltimore, where many families don't trust the water coming from their taps.
For Baltimore resident Gloria Johnson, getting drinking water for her family is an ordeal.
I'm not trusting the water. I'm not comfortable with using it. I'm not comfortable with them drinking it.
Every month,
You don't hear Tahaka Bay talking about stuff like this that's serious. He want to report and investigate. You need to, he don't never investigate our number one enemy, the Caucasian. See, it's your choice whether or not you want to deal with Tariq Nasheed or not. If you're a sucker, you probably deal with him. But if you're not a sucker, you ain't going to deal with him. Same with Tahaka Bay. But I'm just pointing that out.
Mother of two buys bottled water and boils gallons from the tap for her family to drink, cook, and brush their teeth.
It's frustrating because we got to keep up with this every single day on a daily basis.
That's because even though Baltimore's drinking water meets federal safety standards, according to the city's annual water quality reports, the water coming out of her tap is sometimes brown, which could be a sign iron is leaching from aging pipes. Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Michael Regan says Baltimore is one of countless communities across the U.S. grappling with aging water infrastructure as federal investment dwindles. Some experiencing water crises like Flint, Michigan, Jackson, Mississippi, and rural West Virginia.
Why has the U.S. government not done more, invested more in water infrastructure across this country?
There are a lot of needs in this country. Unfortunately, we have waited too long. And there are certain populations in this country, black and brown communities, tribal communities, low-income communities, that are seeing the worst aspects of this disinvestment.
In Baltimore, it's led to problems like sewer backups and skyrocketing water bills because utilities put repair costs on consumers. And last September, routine testing discovered E. coli in the drinking water at 3 locations in West Baltimore, a predominantly black area, leading to a boil water advisory. In a hearing, the Department of Public Works said infrastructure failures were to blame.
It was a result of aging infrastructure.
But Matthew Garbark, who oversees Baltimore's major infrastructure projects, says it's a multifaceted problem.
So are you saying what you're saying and what city officials saying are in line? They were sort of definitive in that hearing and saying aging infrastructure definitely contributed to it.
It is definitely something that is affecting our whole system. Whether that particular case was caused by the aging infrastructure, it's really hard to tell.
We've also talked to some Baltimore residents who say when they open up their tap water, it's brown. What's your message to those people?
That is a very, very concerning thing to see. The brown is a concentration of the iron. It technically is perfectly safe to consume. It's not attractive, and if you wash clothes with it, it will stain your clothes. So we understand that.
Is he crazy?
Our message is call us. No one in our system should have to go out and buy bottled water.
Last year, Maryland received $144 million from the EPA as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law, which set aside about $50 billion for drinking and wastewater improvements.
How much do you need the federal government to be a partner?
We need them desperately. We need to have our local, our state, and our federal partners all aligned.
Still, the $50 billion is not nearly enough. By the EPA's own estimates, the nation's drinking and wastewater infrastructure will require more than $744 billion over 20 years just to meet existing health and environmental standards.
The resources that we have from Bill are just a shot in the arm. There's a huge resource gap here.
A gap that people here are left trying to fill themselves.
We are really struggling with crying out for help.
Help the EPA says it's working to provide.
Water systems have been failing our communities. It's time for government to step up, and that's what we're doing.
As a mom, all I can do is be the best I can be.
Yamisha Sendor, NBC News, Baltimore.
Now y'all see what I'm working with. I got water, but I don't mess with it. This is serious. Y'all seen my first videos I made, y'all seen me working in the garden, planting seeds with my grandson, showing him how to plant. Since then, I done got an apple tree, I got a peach tree, a pear tree. You know, I'm gonna be busy this summer. So y'all remember Monsanto's and that weed killer called Roundup? It ain't went nowhere. They done joined forces with Bayer. Y'all remember chemtrails? They ain't went nowhere. So all these cats like the Huckabee and King Kong Consciousness, and a couple of them that fell by the wayside like Young Pharaoh and Polite. You know, they done went underground. Sarasuit City, Sinetta. And they just really, it's a soap opera, it's a drama. Y'all gotta get serious. This is war. And they're hitting us from all sides, with the food, with the water, with the air, with the pandemic, economic warfare. I'm Black Light, hitting the truth, passing the mic. Truth should be told and not sold. Assalamu alaikum.